Hey everybody, I'm Kalila Reynolds and welcome to another episode of Taking Stock Live. I'm on the virtual set today because they're having some electrical issues, some lighting issues, and the TVs in the set won't come on because the power's not working on that side of the room. And so it goes. Sometimes you just gotta roll with the punches and the show must go on. So we can do it two ways. We can do it with this virtual background, or let me show you what it looks like without the virtual background. And you guys can vote in the comments how you want it to look. Do you want me to do it like on no background? See, there's an empty TV behind me. Or do you prefer the virtual background? So it look like something going on, although piece of my head is kind of like floating in the sky. Let me know in the comments which one you prefer. And here's a look now at what's coming up in tonight's show, followed by what's hot in business. And of course, let me know in the comments as well where you're joining us from tonight. A Jamaican company is looking to be the next global business you don't know about. ChemQualCo is the name behind many local and international beauty products, formulating makeup, hair products, and household cleaners for major brands. Chemist and CEO of ChemQualCo, Kimone Knight, will join us. And the analysts weigh in on the latest market developments. Margaritaville's third quarter results are out. How did they do? Jamaica's tourism industry rebounded faster than most people expected, but that's placed a lot of pressure on local airports. And the U.S. just had its second largest bank failure ever. What happened, and how will it impact Jamaica? We'll discuss.
But first, here's What's Hot, brought to you by JMMB Group, your best interest at heart.
ATM users will have to be patient this week. Some banks have announced disruptions in service following another attack on their service provider, Beryllium. A Beryllium security guard was shot during an attempted robbery on Saturday morning in Albion, St. Thomas. This is the fifth attack on Beryllium teams since the start of the year. One guard has been killed and several others injured during the attacks. No money was stolen during Saturday's attack, and several suspects are reportedly in custody. Digital microfinancing company CJA has been approved to operate by the Bank of Jamaica. CJA is Jamaica's first completely digital microfinance company. Founded by Michael Lee Chin Jr., the company says it aims to serve Jamaica's unbanked and underbanked population. Supreme Ventures Limited is officially set to take the cash pot and pick 4 games to Ghana. Ghana's National Lottery Authority has allowed Game Park Limited to act as a third-party collaborator to operate a lottery in the country. SVL will partner with Game Park as the technical service provider. SVL just recorded its best financial performance, bringing in $50 billion in revenue in 2022. America's largest bank, JP Morgan Chase, has acquired most assets of First Republic Bank on Monday. The Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation seized First Republic's assets over the weekend, placing them for auction on Sunday. JP Morgan Chase won the bid. This is the third U.S. bank to fail in less than 2 months. It's also the second largest bank failure in the nation's history. The only larger failure in U.S. history was the 2008 collapse of Washington Mutual, which was also taken over by J.P. Morgan. First Republic has reportedly been struggling since the collapses of Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank in March. Investors and depositors were worried about the bank's large amount of deposits that did not qualify to be insured by the FDIC.
What's Hot was brought to you by JMMB Group, your best interest at heart. This segment of Taking Stock is brought to you by Bulwark Insurance Agency, insurance made easy.
Just 2 hours with me can change your life, but don't take it from me.
Why I decided to buy Kalila's masterclass, which is, for me, was a game changer.
I'm Kalila Reynolds, financial journalist and educator, and I'm on a mission to help you get better with money. Take my all-new Money Mission Masterclass. We're talking about budgeting.
My top things today were about budgeting and investing.
We're kicking bad debt out the door.
And I also learn about how to pay off your credit card debt.
And I'm giving you the keys to wealth creation by helping you getting started with investing.
this masterclass helped me to start my investment journey.
I had so many takeaways.
The way that I look at money now and saving, I look at it different now.
With a bonus module from Keisha Bailey, my girl, the Profit Jumpstarter, who'll show you how to find great companies to invest in.
I've been in the investing industry now for over 18 years.
So give yourself the best gift. Go to KalilaReynolds.com/masterclass to join the money mission. Let's get this money. All right, welcome back. Well, the votes are in. Only 3 of you voted for which one you prefer. And 2 people voted for no background. Where is it? Liston said no background. And also Puentes a la salud nuestro bienestar says no background as well. And Horace says virtual. So Horace, you were outvoted 2-1 tonight. No background it is. It's not that bad, actually. We work with it, just that you understand why there is no background tonight, yeah? So let's shout out our early viewers. Let's see who is online. As usual, Kish is the first person to comment, says waiting. Danville Johnson says ready to get this money. Lamtree says the early birds are here. So yeah, well early for real. 7:35 you are commenting and also saying I'm opening my spa this summer. Wow. Congratulations, Lamtree. I've been searching for Jamaican-made quality beauty lines to work with. ChemQualCo seems very interesting. Excited to see. Okay, cool. Keisha is there in Manchester. Another Keisha Bailey. So Keisha the teacher, your namesake, is watching us in Manchester. Christine checking in from Kingston 19. Errol in Mobay. Sophia in Old Harbor. And Anthony in Portmore. So big up to everybody who is joining us this evening. It's time now to get into our show. ChemQualCo is the name behind many local and even international beauty products. They formulate makeup, hair products, and household cleaners for over 800 small businesses. ChemQualCo CEO Kimone Knight joins us now. Hi, Kimone. You're muted.
Hi, Kalila. Hi, viewers.
Wow, you are dolled up. Love the hair.
Thank you.
So I first met you at, was it the Rotaract event?
Yes, we were on the same panel. Yes.
And I was like, wow, I really love this business. And now we find ourselves pitching for the same competition. We're both part of Pitch Deck JA. Awesome pitch, by the way. I am rooting for you to be one of the 5 to take home some of the grant money. Great business. And now I want to introduce the rest of Jamaica and the world to what you do at ChemQualCo. But first, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you end up in the chemistry business?
Thank you, Kalila. And yes, I am rooting for you as well to be one of the top 5.
Thank you.
Right. So I studied chemistry at the university level. I did pure and applied chemistry. And when I got my degree, I felt like I could have done more with my degree in terms of serving a market that was not very present in Jamaica, such as cosmetics. I've always had a love for skincare and DIY projects. You know, I always wanted to share that that with our rich culture of castor oil and all those natural ingredients in Jamaica. So when I left university, I worked specifically with cosmetic companies or also companies that borderline were cosmetics, and I studied and had real life experience with chemists from London, chemists that were very seasoned in the industry, studied abroad and overseas, that shared their wealth of formulation with me. And it just stuck to me. It became my new love, formulation chemist.
It's not a business that a lot of, not even just the business part, just not a subject that a lot of Jamaicans like. Science in general, STEM subjects, and especially women. So what was that like for you studying? Were you like minority, both being, a woman, first of all, and then a Black woman in this industry?
Yeah, so honestly, that is the truth. We are borderline, like there's not a lot of women in the cosmetic industry, and at any given company at the top of the ladder, you are going to see a white male or mostly a white male. So that was one of the push that I had to say, okay, I want to represent women and I want to represent Black women in the industry as well. Sometimes when I walk into a room, I am the only female and the only Black person. And you know what? I love it.
You stand out for sure. So
Yes.
I heard from our source told us that you used to actually bake cakes and sell them in your community when you were younger. So the entrepreneurship bug hit you early.
Yes, that is true. I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit, stemming from my family, who, going way back with starting from my grandma, they were always entrepreneurs. They always had a shop, hairdressers. We're talking about fitness persons. My mom has a wholesale, so I've always been around that type of go get it, start your own business type of um, environment. So I grew up in that. And
So what?
before, okay, go. Sorry,
And
Kalila.
what? No, you go ahead. And what?
So before I even got into being a full time cosmetic chemist, I also dabbled a little bit in bag juice. I thought that I could make bag juice and sell it, and I did baby hair products as long as it had to do with formulating and making something. I think I've always been in that type of industry, but then ChemQualCo was just a perfect mix of my passion and business.
You said you did baby hair products.
Yes.
What? How old were you?
I was 25 when I started JA Kids Factory. It was an organic, fully natural hair care line, retail, and it did very well. But it was very overwhelming to do retail.
So, and I'm glad you said JA Kids products because I was just about to ask you if it's uh, products for babies or this kind of baby here, but it's products for kids. So, all right,
It
so that
was
was your
better for
first
kids.
business venture, and you found it overwhelming to do retail. So what? Tell us about that journey. Like, how did that start, and how did it eventually end?
All right, so I started out of a love for creating natural products. I find that in the industry, a lot of unsafe stuff are given to us third world countries, as well as given to us Black women. And it starts from when we're younger. Hair is relaxed and all of that. So I wanted to create safer option, especially being a new mom. I wanted to create something more safe for my daughter, and I had the capacity to do it. I was a chemist, so I went ahead and I did it. And then a lot of persons got onto it and wanted me to share with them, and hence I started that business. However, there was more to business than being a chemist. I did not know the business side of being in business. Even though the
Mm.
formulas were perfect, I did not know accounting, I did not know branding. So I sought help at JBDC, and I continue to seek business training throughout the years, such as Vision Achievers. Even this pitch deck competition has taught me so much.
Oh, I'm very interested in hearing what it's taught you.
Yes.
What has it taught you?
All right, so pitch deck so far has been amazing in terms of finances. I don't know if your viewers have watched, but if they haven't, Simon consistently gives financial advice, and Krista consistently gives marketing advice, and we know that Mark give all type of advice.
Mark
So
know everything.
so I've been able to benefit tremendously from just reviewing of the pitches and just giving general advice, such as seeing your marketing, your sales funnel, sorry, as well as other marketing and sales advice that Krista would have given to me. Mark helping me with my strategy as well as helping me with distribution and stuff like that.
Yeah, something you said earlier struck me as well. So you were doing this baby hair business and you were passionate about that. You love doing it, but you didn't know much about the business end, which is something that I find hits a lot of entrepreneurs. And I say this to people all the time too. So you love making soap or making whatever it is that you make or providing whatever service you provide. And that's the reason you're in the business, but you don't realize that there's a whole other end. You have to be able to sell that stuff in order to make any money.
Yes.
Making it is actually the fun part. Selling
Yes.
it is where the hard part begins. Because now,
Very
how do
much.
people find out about your product? How do you manage the distribution? How do you get into the stores? How do you do the accounting? All of these other things you
Record
have to figure
keeping,
out.
paperwork. Yes.
Yeah. So at that point, was it just you alone in the business?
Yes, so it was just me alone, and I thought I was superwoman, but I was not. I had to later outsource some of my responsibilities, such as the administrative responsibilities. I had to seek I was doing it out of my house to begin with. Then, as ChemQualCo grew, we got one factory space. Then we moved into a bigger factory space. Then we took up 2 units. So I had to get production workers, supervisors. We got our website, and we just continued to grow. But essentially, I had to get help.
So, but at what point did we realize this ain't for me anymore? I can't bother.
Yeah, so it was a very tough decision. So COVID came around, and I realized that a lot of persons were losing their jobs. And as a chemist, they were coming to me one on one, asking me if I could develop something for them to sell. They had their little skills. And I was holding on to my JA Baby Factory, but I realized that a bigger purpose could be to help other brands to launch their products. So, in the midst of COVID, at the beginning of COVID, I left my job and I pursued ChemQualCo full time and gave up JA Kids Factory.
So you were doing JA Kids Factory part-time. That wasn't your full-time thing at the
No,
time.
it was not.
So that was your side hustle. You had your full-time job. I know
Yes,
a part of your story because you told it at Rotaract. And
yes.
I remember you saying that when you say you left your job, to pursue ChemQualCo good full-time, you need to tell the viewers what that entailed, like what you had to give up to do that.
I gave up a lot, but financially wise, I had to sell my car because manufacturing is very cash intensive. Even to get the space, I had to sell my car. Motherhood took a back seat. Unfortunately, that was a hit. Um, I had to downgrade my living. I know everything is much better, and I would say that it was worth it.
Sold your car,
Yes.
downgrade. When you said downgrade your living, like you had to take a smaller home to like rent or something?
Definitely rented a smaller home, as well as only did my hair every so often. You go shopping for your makeup as a woman and stuff. I had to cut back on those type of things. Partying was definitely out of the window for me. Didn't have the budget for that. Every resource that I had went into the company because I believe that it was able to grow.
Well, fortunately, this was during COVID, so party wasn't keeping anyway.
That is true.
And you're inside anyway, so you don't really need the makeup during COVID.
That is true.
But yeah, so that was difficult. So how long did it take before the company started gaining at least some traction?
ChemQualCo is 4 years old, and I'm going to be completely honest. I think by the end of the first year, we did extremely well. It was a shocker to me, but when the records came in, ChemQualCo at the end of the year did well for a first year company that launched in the midst of COVID.
Well, tell the people what ChemQualCo actually does, because we haven't properly introduced this company yet.
Yes. All right. So ChemQualCo is a cosmetic manufacturing company, and we offer three main services. We offer chemist formulation services, where we're able to assist you in developing a cosmetic product from scratch. We are also able to develop household, car care, and veterinary products as well. We also do white labeling products. So if you are not able to formulate from scratch, but you just want to brand and sell products as your own, we offer skincare, hair care, and yoni care products for you to brand, label, and sell as your own. And of course, as you grow and become bigger, we have contract manufacturing where you can outsource your manufacturing to us. We have the facilities, the equipment, and the know how to manufacture on a large scale.
That's amazing. So if I want to create my own Kalila brand of skincare, hair care products, I could come to you and you make it for me. And then we just take over the marketing and distribution.
Yes, so we take off the heavy lifting off your hands. We give you more time to focus on your marketing, distribution, and branding, knowing that a trusted chemist and professional is not only developing your products, but manufacturing them and testing them.
And then on top of that, you also have your own line that I can buy and just put my face on and sell it.
Yes.
That is really, really interesting. So how did you come up with this idea?
All right, so it was a need in the industry as other persons were coming to me and asking me to formulate these various set of products. I saw that Jamaica has a wealth of beautifully minded persons that had great product ideas for their castor oil, for their turmeric, for their aloe vera, and we were underrepresented on the shelf. And I decided that I'm going to make a difference. I am going to help entrepreneurs to launch their concept from ideas to reality.
So are you able to say some of the brands that you work with, or you have a non-disclosure?
A lot of NDAs, Kalila, a lot of
Mhm.
NDAs, but it is always a pleasure when I scroll through the pharmacies and the supermarket to see brands on the shelf. It is, it makes it all worth it.
That you created.
Yes.
That's amazing. Like, tell me off air which are the ones that you made when we're done.
And I'm
I want to
pretty
know.
sure you've used a few.
Probably,
And
probably,
I'm
because
sure
I
that
do
you've
like.
been to hotels and you've used a few as well.
Ooh, hotels. That's a great market, a great niche.
Yes.
So is it mostly for local companies, or do you do manufacturing for like international companies as well?
We don't right now, but it is certainly a long-term goal for ChemQualCo to be able to export our services and products.
So it's all Jamaica or any in the Caribbean
It's all Jamaican
so far?
so far. Yes.
Now, in your pitch deck presentation, you said your company has worked with over 800 small businesses. So how do you manage all of that? That seems like a very large scale.
Whew. It is a pretty large customer base. However, we've just come a long way in streamlining that set of customers. We've sent them to the website where they're able to access our products. Plus, we built relationship with them through Instagram and through email marketing. So they're always in the know and they know exactly what to do to get their products. They know the quality of products that they get in. They know all our product listings. So it hasn't it I mean it's a lot of customer base, but we've been able to manage by streamlining.
Let me take a few comments so far. Lamtree says your story is amazing. And once you believe in yourself, just place God first and you'll achieve your goals. I completely agree. Strong Link says, bottom line, you had to sacrifice.
Yes.
Roswell saying the same thing. I really love that you recognize what you had to do to grow the business. Living frugally really helped the business. And then Nana Sense is getting right to the point. He says, tell us about the money making aspect of the business. You know, we always talk money on this show.
Yes.
Um, Give us some of your numbers. What has it been like money wise?
All right, for the 3 years that ChemQualCo has been around, we've managed to have a revenue of 30 million with a 20% growth rate over the last 2 years, which is kind of good for a startup company. Um, or contract manufacturing customers, which is just three customers only, have managed to ring in, I think, either 3 or 4 million. I don't have the exact numbers right now. And that to us is a significant way in which we can grow our business through contract manufacturing.
That's amazing. So the 30 million is lifetime, so over those 3 years.
Yes, over the 3 years.
Okay. Well, tell
Yes.
me about some of your plans to grow this business. Like, where do you see ChemQualCo going next?
ChemQualCo is going to be very big and it's going to be a very vital company to the Jamaican manufacturing industry. We are planning to launch in other, no, we are planning to partner with other companies throughout Jamaica so that or or other parishes can access our products. So currently, we're we're mostly in Kingston, Montego Bay, and St. Catherine, and we want our customers to be able to get our products elsewhere. So we're planning to launch stores strategically throughout Jamaica so that we have access to other customers. We're definitely looking into exporting. We're in talks with Jumper right now, and that is at the top of our 5 years goal list right now to start to export our goods as well as our services to
Right. So you are
Europe.
going into retail by opening stores back
No,
into retail.
I wouldn't call it retail. It's a strategy. It's a strategic plan to have our bases, our white label bases, available in packages so that customers can pick them up in store instead of waiting on 3 to 5 days for shipping.
I see. Well, that will require some money for inventory, yes?
Yes,
Hence your
and
pitch.
pinch deck.
And for anybody else listening who might want to give you an opportunity, well, do we have a large base of business people who watch this show and investors and potential investors as well? Throw out your pitch to them while you're at it. How much money you need?
ChemQualCo needs $4 million to
Jamaican
invest. Yes, I
or
feel like
US?
that's a little bit. I want to say overall we need $8 million to buy inventory as well as to invest in our marketing as and just to get like capital goods equipment that could increase us from our 2,000 gallons a day to making our 20,000 gallons, which is what our customers are really asking for.
Okay. Well, I really, really am excited about your business especially because it is in a non-traditional field for Jamaica. It's a field that we don't focus on enough here. Your chemistry, science, run, right? All the
Yeah.
science majors in high school tend to go towards medicine and not realizing that there are other avenues as well, and that you can turn your passion for science into a business, into a
Yes.
science business. When you look at people like Dr. Henry Lowe,
Yes. Turn their
pioneer in your industry.
Yes, that is true. And
Yeah.
I think God wanted me in this industry because I've tried so many things and it always pointed me here. For instance, when I was going to UA, the vision was to become a doctor, and I did not get through until the second year for dentistry, medicine of dentistry, until the second year, and I would have invested so much in Pure and Applied, I wasn't going to jump ship. So I continued on to Pure and Applied. So I think I was supposed to end up here.
Well, we have a couple people who look like they might be interested. Stronglink wants to know, come to me and present. He says, come to me and present your case. I'm a minnow tank, not a shark tank, just a minnow tank. Nano Zen wants to know what percentage of the company will the 4 million get an investor? If I was to give you the 4 million, like how much equity are you prepared to give up?
We can definitely talk off here.
Good answer. Steve wants to know, are you doing any work on CBD? Is that
No,
cannabinoids or CBD? That's cannabis stuff,
cannabis, yes. Not yet. Not yet.
but you intend to enter that.
Definitely.
Okay. Sean says cosmetics is a big industry. Lee Korn says, wow, this is very inspirational. Go ChemQualCo. And then we have another couple of people too. Sean says, can't wait to see the IPO. Looking forward to it.
Most certainly.
Is that in your plan eventually to go
Yes.
public?
Yes, it's in our long term plan as well as to have it been announced on Taking Stock Live.
I love it. It says, dream big, I would purchase the IPO. Stronglink adding a lot of good business prospects with great potential crashes. A lot of good prospects. You should have no comma there. You're messing me up with your punctuation, Stronglink. A lot of good prospects with great potential crash because the developer wants to run before they can walk. Instead of reinvesting early profits for growth, they use it to buy Benz. Not smart. And you have obviously done the opposite. So all the best to you. I hope something works out. I'm rooting for you at Pitch Deck. And to our viewers, if you hear something that you like, contact Kimone and see what can happen, what can work out so that ChemQualCo can go to the next level and also start manufacturing for Fenty Beauty and become manufacturing for L'Oreal and Revlon. And, the world is your oyster at this point. The sky is the limit.
Yes, thank you so much, Kalila. Thank you, viewers. I hope I inspired someone today. If you want to learn more about ChemQualCo, we do have a website, www.chemqualco.com, and we also have an Instagram. It's just simply ChemQualCo. And from there, you can find our product listing and any information that you need.
Thank you so much. Now you have me interested in creating my own, let's get this something product line.
I understand.
Let's get this face. Let's get this body product line.
Yes.
I know who to come to. Come to Kimone and she will sort it out. All
Yes.
right, to our viewers, take tonight's poll. And here's your question. You can find the link to this in the description box below, or you can also just go to the community tab on our YouTube channel or on Twitter. Would you ever start a business? Simple poll question this evening. Would you ever start a business? No, too much work. Yes, I'd love to. C, I've already started one. D, yes, but I don't know where to start. Or other, just leave a comment. There's so many other opinions you can have here. Would you ever start a business? You think it's too much work? Yes, you would love to. You've already started one. Yes, but you don't know where to start. Or you can just leave a comment and let us know what you think about this topic. Would you start a business? While you're at it, guys, make sure to hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, do so. And up next, we've got your market recap, and the analysts are standing by.
This segment of Taking Stock was brought to you by Bulwark Insurance Agency, Insurance Made Easy.
Hey, moneymakers, join the KRM fam with our official merch. Get it now at KalilaReynolds.com. Let's get this money. Time now for your market recap, April review. The JSE Combined Index lost almost 3,000 points in April. 127 stocks traded across the main and junior markets for the month. 60 made gains, 58 lost value, and 9 stayed the same. 484 million shares changed hands on the Jamaican dollar market, valued at $3.5 billion. Now here's a look at some of the highlights for April. The main index lost almost 1%. The junior market fell 1.5%, the financial index dropped almost 2%, and the manufacturing and distribution index was mostly flat. Trans-Jamaica was April's most traded stock. It took up almost 18% of market volume, with people buying and selling 93 million shares in the company. The stock opened May at $1.76. Access Financial was the month's second most traded stock. It lost $1.27 to open the new month at $24.28. And Wigton Wind Farm rounded out April's most traded. The stock gained 4 cents to start May at 79 cents. Now let's see who had the biggest gains for the month. Cygnus Real Estate Finance USD was April's biggest gainer. The stock was up 55% to open May at 11 cents US. Trans-Jamaican Highway 8% had the second biggest jump in April. The stock closed the month at $3.19. And JMMB 7.5% was the third biggest gainer. The stock was up almost 40% to start May at $1.37. On the losing side now, JPS 7% was last month's biggest loser, down 28% to open the new month at $125.63. Epley 7.5% preference shares due 2024 was the month's second biggest loser. The stock was down 24% to open May at $6. And rounding out the biggest losers was MPC Caribbean Clean Energy USD. The stock fell 16%, closing the month at 58 cents US. Over on the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange, the composite index was up 0.5%. Massey was the most traded stock for the month. It opened May at $4.67 TT. Port Lisa's Industrial was the market's biggest gainer, up 19% to open at $4.30 TT. And on the losing side, JMMB Group fell almost 11% to open the new month at $1.50 TT. Over in the U.S., the Dow Jones was up almost 2% for the month of April, while the S&P 500 gained 1% and the Nasdaq was mostly flat. At the pumps, Jamaican motorists got a small break for the most part, as 87 gas prices were down $1.69 in April, while 90 was down $1.76. Diesel prices, on the other hand, fell $8.75 for the month. In foreign exchange, overall, the Jamaican dollar weakened in April, losing $1.09 to close the month at an average $153.31 for $1 US. The Canadian dollar also weakened slightly in the month of April, and the British pound and euro both had losses last month. Finally, on the crypto markets, Bitcoin prices were up almost 1% for the month. The cryptocurrency traded at $28,688 US on April 30, and Ethereum was up 1%, trading at $1,848 on April 30.
This segment of Taking Stock, The Analysts, is brought to you by Jamaica National Group. We'll help you find a way. Disclaimer. This is not intended as financial advice. Please consult a licensed financial advisor before making investment decisions.
Welcome back. Welcome back. For those of you who joined us late and wondering why the screens are empty behind me, it's an electrical issue at the studio. There is no power on this entire side of the studio. Happens sometimes, right? We roll with the punches and the show goes on. I did ask the viewers earlier to vote whether they wanted me to use the virtual background or just go with this. And you guys decided that you wanted to just roll with it as is. And it don't look too bad, if you ask me. So we're just working with it. Let's take a few more comments from our viewers. Roswell says, I wish her the best. I would invest. S. Morgan says, very inspirational. You go, girl. I would invest. See, some people already, you guys get together and crowdfund some money and get Kimone. No, you guys can do it. Put together your money. Sophia Facey says, I want to start a serious business. I've tried many gigs before. What happened? Did they all not work? Guess what? So many things fail, and it's just a learning experience towards the next thing that does work. That's how it is. What else? Strong Link says, start a business. Yes, I'm a great conceptualizer, but poor implementer. So you need to partner with somebody who is great at that. So a lot of businesses have great partnerships like that. You have the one person who has all the ideas. They're the idea person. They're the energy person. They're the branding person. And then you have the one who goes out and implements. So you might just need to find the right business partner. Errol says, maybe I missed something. What's your product lines ready to support Buy Jamaica to build Jamaica? Yeah, you did miss it, Errol. So she's primarily, or ChemQualCo is primarily a service-based business. They formulate products for other companies. So if I wanted to develop my own skincare or hair care line, I could go to ChemQualCo and they would develop the formula for me. Like if I said I wanted to use particular ingredients, I want it to have a particular outcome, I want it to be for smooth, dewy skin, they will figure out what the formula is and make it for me so that I can just focus on the marketing and distribution and sales. But they also have their own product lines that you can just white label. So they offer it for white labeling. So if you want to sell your own product, but you don't want to go through that whole process of coming up with the formulas along with ChemQualCo, you just want to buy something that's ready and slap your branding on it, you can also do that. So they do have products for sale that you can put your own branding on and sell. So that's the concept of their business. And let's see, Oren says, I want to start a business, especially to capitalize on the real estate boom on the North Coast, but trying to wrap my head around the right product or desired service. Any suggestions, folks? All right, so it's this crowdstorming going on right here. Crowdfunding for ChemQualCo and crowdstorming for Oren, who wants to start some type of real estate business on the North Coast. So let's get into the analysts. I'm joined by investment senior research analyst at JN Group, Faye Samuels, and business writer at the Jamaica Observer, David Rose. Welcome back, Faye and David.
Good night, Kalila.
All right, so this should be good. Faye, you have been taking a look at Margaritaville's third quarter results. What's happening with Margaritaville? I'm going to make a prediction that they did very well because tourism is doing well.
Definitely, you are on the money, Kalila. Could you share my screen, please? Okay, so we're going to do a brief overview of Margaritaville before we go into the financials. So some persons may not know, but Margaritaville Turks is domiciled in the Turks and Caicos and was established to fulfill food, beverage, and entertainment purposes for cruise passengers who come through the Grand Turks cruise port. The company is a subsidiary of Margaritaville Caribbean Group and was listed on the JSE in 2014. Its main activity during the year was the operation of a Margaritaville branded bar and restaurant. So after more than 20 months, cruising returned to the Grand Turk Cruise Port in December 2021. During that closure, Carnival Cruises, which is the main cruise line into that port, in partnership with the Turks and Caicos government and other business entities, carried out major refurbishing to include the expansion of the dock to accommodate larger cruise vessels, as well as other landscaping and aesthetic improvements. Okay, now we're going into the financials. We're going to focus on the recent Q3 results, but a brief look at what happened in the last financial year. We know that the financial year ended on May 31st. And if any one of your viewers remembers, during COVID, when the lockdowns were going on, cruise lines were the target for most of the lockdowns, and their lockdowns went much longer than even the hotels, the national borders, the airports. So persons were very skeptical about going on cruises for a very long time. So 2021 was where we saw most of the impact on their revenues. So in 2020, their revenues ended the year $5.9 million US dollars. And 2021, it plummeted to 48,000 US dollars for the whole year. So this was, as I mentioned, because of the lockdown, the COVID lockdowns, and the cruise industry being locked down even longer than normal. And there was a large decrease in the number of cruise passengers arriving into Grand Turk Port. The company recorded losses of 1.38 million in financial year 2020 to 48,000 in 2021. However, in 2022, we saw a turnaround and revenues increased by over 5,000% to 2.62 million. Yes, over 5,000% to 2.62 million. So we see that right here, from the 48,000 that they made in 2021 to 2.6 million in 2022. So this was because there was a large number of passengers returning to Grand Turk Port. So the knock-on effect of the strong growth in the revenues was a reduction in their net losses. So we see where they had 1.38 million in net losses in 2021, and this moved down to 609,000 in 2022. So while it was still
But of course,
net
that's
losses,
coming from that low in 2021. So 5,000% sounds impressive, but then you realize that it comes
yes,
after COVID. So anything after COVID is awesome.
definitely, because it was really, really low. So
But
even
I'm
though
looking at the numbers too, and I see that they're still not back to pre-COVID levels, though.
no, they're not back as yet, but growing. Remember, the last numbers you're looking at are from just Q3. So we have one more quarter in this year, so it looks good. So even though they had losses of 609K, we know that the revenue was only earned for half of the year, and that revenue still had to support a full year of expenditures. So we expect positive going into the next financial year. So now looking at the 9-month quarterly results, we see that there was an over 400% increase in passengers that cruise into that port compared to financial year 2022. So this led to a 411% surge in revenues to 4.98 million versus the 975K in financial year 2022. If we looked at the 3-month quarter only, we see that the revenue was actually 2.2 million, which according to the company is the highest level of revenue for a single quarter in the company's entire history. And it was actually 120% higher than the revenue for the same 3-month period in 2022. Looking back at the 9-month results now, we see that the company earned gross profits of 3.65 million, which was also over 400% greater than the amount in the previous period. The gross margins were down slightly, ending at about 73%, but still relatively stable and showing that the operations remain steady. If we look at the efficiency ratio for the 9-month period of 2022, it highlights that the company was unable to cover operating expenses or to retain profits. But the revenue uptick in 2023 saw the efficiency ratio improving and moving to 62.56%. Overall profits now, there were no taxes, luckily, for MTL. And so net losses of 776K were recorded for 2022 here. We do note that there was a good increase in the admin and promotional expenses, but that's expected given that they would have had to support, growing the business, getting more passengers to come to Margaritaville, and that would have supported the increase in the revenues. The big boost in the profits, driven by boosting in tourism products regionally and globally, the increase in cruise passenger arrivals, and the company also noted that there was an increased average spend rate per passenger relative to the previous period. So not just more passengers, but passengers are actually spending more money each passenger. The earnings per share also moved from $1.15 US to $1.75, highlighting increased value to shareholders. Now we're going to have a look at the balance sheet. And we see more of the same. The assets grew by about 41%. We see that the fixed assets, the property, plant, and equipment was basically steady. Most of the growth came from the current assets. We see that there was a big increase, moving from 0 to 1.7 million in the amount due from related companies, which would be from companies in the Margaritaville Caribbean group. There was also a 33% increase in trades and other receivables. Inventories, though, remained relatively unchanged. We've seen a lot of companies shoring up inventories during these periods, but given that their product would be probably more perishable, they have not done that. Liabilities went up by about 15%, and we see that 37% of that growth came from current liabilities, and 30% came from trades and other payables. Shareholder equity increased by about 63%, and most of that growth came from the boost in the retained earnings. Okay, the price, performance, and valuation. If we look at Margarita's closing price as of today, it was about $18.98. And for the 52-week range, we see that it's a range of about $14 to $30. So at current levels, $18, it's basically in the middle, and we know that it has the potential to go much higher. The price to earnings ratio, if we look at the trend from 2018, we see that it moved from 15 to 22 and then down to 15 in 2020. We can't really use 2021 and 2022 because of the negative earnings in those years. So those would be anomalies. But the current PE ratio would be 5.75 times. So based on these metrics, we would say that MTL looks undervalued.
Interesting. Let me see if we have any questions from the audience.
Okay, I'll go ahead with the outlook.
Okay, go ahead.
The outlook for MTL is we consider to be positive, given the strong rebound that they have shown from COVID-19 and their return to profitability. But of course, there are headwinds coming that we have to look out for. There are potential risks such as supply chain risk, raw material price increases, and of course, the big risk, recession fears. Because with the inflationary pressures continuing to be high and central banks still holding a tight rein on monetary policies, there's a fear that there could be a severe slowdown in global economic activities. And of course, if that happens, then the first things that persons may want to cut is their leisure and travel and enjoyment. So that could negatively affect MTL. And we see in COVID where the closures really impacted their bottom line. So imagine if there's a severe recession, something similar could happen. So that's a risk that investors take. But in summary, we expect the growth in the regional tourism product to continue for near term. And given market conditions and how we have seen them manage their expenses and their operations during the shutdown and coming out of it, we still believe that MTL offers some value to investors.
Okay, so we have a couple of comments from the viewers. Clinton says, good results won't move Margaritaville stock price though. How is the stock price doing?
It's about $18.
And the trend?
It's fairly not. It doesn't move a lot. It doesn't move a lot. It does not move a lot, but there are times when it has gone up very high. As I've said, the 52-week range goes up to $29.
Mm. So you just have to know when to jump in and
You
when
just
to
have to
jump out on a stock
ex-
like this.
exactly.
Just one little point on that with respect to Margaritaville clerks. The US seller price is I think 21 USD, but it's really not that liquid. I believe the company, I'm not sure the company said by IP or camera immediately, or at least for introduction, but the free float is very small and the person to hold it tightly. So that's why you have such a very small volume being traded and also, such erratic price movements. It's something similar you see in even ISP finance.
We're getting some feedback from you, David. I'm not sure where this feedback is coming from. A couple other comments regarding Margaritaville. Elaine says, good news don't sell. Where does most of their visitors or customers originate? If you say the USA, then that is a cause for concern. I guess because of what's going on in the economy in the United States. But then Stronglink says, PE about 5 to 6. Yes, I agree. Undervalued with potential provided US raises its debt ceiling. And then Roswell again says, Margaritaville never in my portfolio, probably for the same reasons cited. Well, you cited some of those risks already, and the fact that they're not very liquid, as David was just saying. Let me hear if you sound any better now, David.
If you can hear me clearly, Kalila.
There's still some feedback coming from you. I'm not sure. Maybe it's the earpiece. Try unplugging the earpiece.
It's better now?
Much better, yes.
I'm not sure what's going on with this, but we move.
Much better. Sean has a question. Sean wants to know, do they only provide tourism products, Margaritaville?
Yes, they do. They're located on the port, so they cater to the passengers from the cruise arrivals. So the gift shop, the restaurant, and the bar, that's the main operation.
Okay. Well, David, you actually have a related topic. You had two topics, but one of them had to do with Jamaica's tourism boom, which, we've gotten some really impressive arrivals at our airports, but that's also causing some issues. So what are the issues going on with this good news, but we can't manage it?
So right now, when you're looking back at comparative even to 2019 or 2020 numbers, we're surpassing or, really having significant traffic. And, most of that traffic is arriving through the Sangster International Airport. And, we also have the Normal International Airport, which is averaging, I think, more than 100,000 passengers per month within these last 3 months. And you have the Sangster International Airport averaging about 400 and 500,000 persons per month. So when you have that kind of traffic going through, it might, in this case, add to some delays or, in this case, just constraints in a sense. So right now, it's a good sign for all these tourism-related companies and also businesses that derive activity as a result of tourism, because what this means is that Jamaica has a very strong case, to further develop the product. So you should recall, that there are about 105,000 rooms to be developed over the next, I think, 5 years. You have Sandals redeveloping one property in Ocho Rios. You have one company planning a casino hotel down on the West End. And, all of this is pretty interesting, but people, realistically speaking, really can't all go to Montego Bay. It's a nice airport. I've never been there or flown out, but it's pretty nice. But we've seen, the constraints are being faced. So for persons who don't know, although we own the airport, it's operated by, the Pacific Airport Group. I'm not sure why they're normally is having such appearance issues based on what I've seen on Twitter recently. But, the government is increasing its funding to expand the airport. I think more than $170 million on top of what is already been allocated to
What's
the
the
expansion.
appearance issue? What's that?
So the normally international airport, person spoke about, the AC having not working appropriately. You go inside, it just feels bland. The water coming out of the pipes is brown. Like it's on
Oh
Twitter,
no.
and people say you see persons tweeting over the last 2 weeks of actually using the location, and then they say there's only one working X-ray machine, and it's very odd considering that that airport is run entirely by PAC, but I'm not sure what requirements are needed for the upkeep and maintenance of the airport, but it's not pretty what you see on Twitter. Like people are just complaining, and I can understand in a sense why persons want to go to Montego Bay just to fly out of the country. Because for those who don't know, Montego Bay has such volumes of traffic that because of such, you actually get cheaper ticket prices coming out of Montego Bay than out of Kingston.
Really?
Yeah. So persons in our city, probably we do them at probably $20,000, $30,000 cheaper sometimes, and they just take an Oxford Express and just hop down to Montego Bay, enjoy the ambience, and fly out after. But I've checked myself as well. It actually is cheaper for different ranges of locations at times to go to Montego Bay than to use Kingston. Remember, Kalila, 400,000 passengers per month going through Montego Bay versus 100,000 going through Kingston. The numbers kind of do give some substance as to why Montego Bay would relatively be cheaper. You have
Makes
more
sense.
airlines adding routes to Montego Bay as well.
That absolutely makes sense. I've never flown out of Montego Bay either, but now that I live in Mandeville, it's not that much different driving to Mobay than it is to drive to Kingston. So,
But here's the thing about it, you don't have to drive either. You just have to pay your Oxford Express and just get a ticket and just be on your laptop and enjoy the Wi-Fi.
I'm not sure if Knutsford goes from Mandeville to Montego Bay. I have to check that. Well, anyway, yeah, you're giving me something to think about. All right, so the next big news this past week was a bit of international news, and it had to do just today's Tuesday, so just yesterday, Sunday, this news broke. JP Morgan Chase Bank has bought First Republic Bank, and First Republic Bank has now become the second largest bank failure in U.S. history since Washington Mutual in 2008. It is also the third bank failure this year. What is going on, David? David gone? Oh, there you are.
No, it's a third US bank failure within the last 2 months in a sense. Remember, you had Silicon Valley Bank, then you had Signature Bank, and then you have First Republic Bank. And a key, what I said, US failures. Remember, Credit Suisse just went belly up, and the Swiss government basically said, no, you're not failing, and forced a deal where UBS was taking over Credit Suisse. So, we have seen an unprecedented set of events, in the last 2 months, because while interest rates are going up, a lot of, some of these, what you'd call regional banks, like, probably a regional bank in the western part of the USA or Midwest, they are facing unprecedented levels of pressure. Because what has happened is that as interest rates continue to rise, what happens is that the cost of funding goes up, which means, when a bank takes their money in, they have to actually lend it out to earn some form of return on it. And the reality is the other sources of funding that they also use are much more expensive. So if a bank is lending out 3% on a 30-year mortgage and rates are probably at 5%, that bank is, in a sticky situation. And, as interest rates rise, the fair value of their longer dated assets tends to go down. What does that mean? So you can hold certain fixed income assets 2 ways. You can hold it at market value, meaning as interest rates rise, the fair value goes down to reflect, the market adjustments, or it can be held to maturity, meaning that let's say you buy a bond today in 2023 and it's supposed to mature in 2026. You don't intend to sell this bond at all. So although interest rates are trending up, the value on your book doesn't change. So once you don't actually sell it and you hold it to maturity, you're fine. But the minute you actually do convert that bond into an instrument to be sold, you're going to have to recognize those fair value losses. And That's the big issue that is impacting a lot of these, US banks. So Silicon Valley Bank, had bad treasury management, and with First Republic, they faced quite an exodus within just call it 2 weeks. So to put that into context, First Republic Bank on March 9, they had about $174 billion worth of deposits, right? That's March 9. By March 31, they had lost about 40% of those deposits. So from 170 to about $70 billion in just almost 3 weeks.
Ouch.
That's scary. And the thing is, a couple other US banks, including JP Morgan, actually, had put in some uninsured deposits into First Republic, to try and prevent, the worst situation to come into reality, which was, them failing. Because what happens, when you have a bank run is that person that going to say, hey, I want my money. But here's the problem. Banks don't necessarily have all of your deposits available as liquid cash all at once. Remember, when a bank needs a loan, that's money that they're expecting to get back in the future. When a bank, engage in other activities and so forth, some of those activities aren't necessarily income that's going to come in like tomorrow morning. So what the banks have to do is, sell these assets. And as they sell these assets, they incur losses on their books. And, the reality is because of the 21st century we're living in, you don't have to go up to the bank anymore to actually, withdraw your money. You just go on your phone, select, put in your details, send it elsewhere. That's it. And, along with the fear in the environment and the social media as well, you've just seen a mass exodus of deposits in these regional banks. And it's very bad because while the FDIC, which is the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, I said, hey, everybody's going to be safe and can access their deposits, people are going to still be like, I'm not sure I want to keep my money in a regional bank where most of the deposits are uninsured. So in the US, if you have $250,000 and below of all your accounts at one commercial bank, for example, it's insured. In Jamaica, it's 1.2 million Jamaican dollars. So anything above those amounts, you're on your own. And in the case of First Republic and even Silicon Valley Bank, like more than 60-70% of their deposits were uninsured. So when persons got fearful, of the bank actually failing and not having access to their deposits, you had this mass panic event where persons literally were just rushing to get their money to actually, say, hey, I need to pay my staff, I have payroll, so I need to get access to my money. So we've just seen some pretty historic events because when 2008 happened, smartphones were just coming out. We didn't get the beauty to watch bank runs like in real time because Friday, First Republic Bank, was basically being bidded around with FDIC, and come Monday morning, JP Morgan actually, comes out as the winner. And the irony about it is JP Morgan was actually, based on certain regulations, not supposed to be able to acquire FDIC. Sorry,
really?
First Republic. So in the US, they have a cap saying that if you own 10% of all US deposits, you're not supposed to be able to acquire the depositing institution. But JP Morgan did. So that kind of shows you.
I wonder how they got around that. It's who you know. No matter where you are, US, Jamaica, links run the world, I tell
Kalila, is actually different rules. If a bank is about to fail, they're exempt from certain conditions. So that was the difference in this time. But under normal circumstances, they would not have been able to take over the bank.
Gotcha. All right. So Roswell says if U.S. bank have lesser deposits and little borrowing, well, yeah, they will collapse. And we have a few more comments. Oh, since you're still here, Faye, before we wrap up this segment, Javon wants to know any word on new bond issues from BOJ, because remember, it's you bust up on the bond last time, So now people want to know what's going on with any new bond offers on the market.
Well, there are BOJ CDs every week. Every week there are BOJ CD auctions, so they can definitely look into that. It was actually my next colleague from JN who did that. But they can give us a call, and we help investors to invest in BOJ CDs.
All right, cool. Well, thank you. David, based on your readings, last question now, based on your readings, are there any other bank failures likely? Because this was predicted. Everybody was saying First Republic would be next. Is there any word on, another bank possibly failing now?
Well, it's very likely because today on the US markets, basically every regional bank was down. There is one bank, PACW, Pacific, I can't remember the name of the bank in total, but their stock price was down 27% today. It's halted about 5 times during the day. So, persons are literally expecting them to be the next failing bank because remember, when you see the stock price of a bank in this case crashing, in March to now it's down 70%. When you see that kind of significant decline, persons are kind of losing faith altogether in your institution. So, Pacific PACW, that particular bank, that's basically based on the trades and even the volumes of put options being bought, that is expected to be the next potential bank failure. And somebody actually shared, a chart. I can't show it right now with respect to uninsured deposits versus the CET1 ratio, meaning common equity tier 1 capital losses. And you have a couple more banks that are on the extreme end to the right, and they just might fail. And the more banks that fail is going to just add more uncertainty to the environment, because you might say, hey, I'll just take a bank that is, systematically important, and I will just, keep money there. But those guys don't pay interest on significant amounts of deposits. And on top of that, you are realistically, not getting that service that some of these regional banks would offer. Because Silicon Valley Bank, they were catered to the tech community, those startup businesses. First Republic, I read somewhere that, they gave Mark Zuckerberg a 30-year mortgage at 1.4%. And, mortgage rates in the general market was like 3.5. So some of these banks have very specified or, specialized services. Today I shorted, the same PACW, not shorted, I put a put option on PACW.
David, you have to put your phone on Do Not Disturb, man. Somebody is ringing off your phone while you're on the air. But yeah,
messages?
messages are coming in. So Tavia says JDIC insures money in deposit-taking institutions. She wants to know, are investment houses insured? No, they are not, Tavia.
No.
So yeah, banks are insured by JDIC. Investment firms are not. This is one of the issues that came up following the whole SSL thing. It's one of the recommendations I made that, perhaps they should be. And I heard Minister Clark saying that that could be something that they're working on. So let's wrap up this segment. Let me see if I have any other. We have some more comments, but we'll take those after this break.
I'll just add context to that last point, Kalila. When the person was talking about JDIC, 1.2 million cap per institution. And for investment institutions, there is not insurance specifically for them. What happens, and required by law is fidelity insurance. So that's kind of some protection, but otherwise you're on your own.
All right. Thank you so much, David, and thank you, Faye. We'll take a quick break and come back with your final comments.
This segment of Taking Stock, The Analysts, was brought to you by Jamaica National Group. We'll help you find a way.
Oh, it's back to me. Normally there's something right there before. Oh, or that was it. Okay. Let me take your final comments here. Let me see what we have. Going back to our first segment, Nana Sen says, I don't think that ChemQualCo needs an investor right now. Based on her number of 4 million, she would have to give up 20% of the company. Well, that's why she is trying to get grant funding. Ideally, if she could get the grant funding, she doesn't need an investor. But if not, then, maybe something else can work out. Dark Side of Jamaica says, we need a GoFundMe business in Jamaica to help persons who want to start a business to grow their business. What's stopping them from going on the regular GoFundMe? That still works for Jamaica. Did you guys see that story? Ramesh D'Souza. He is a food influencer and he has a lot of followers on TikTok, and he creates unique Jamaican dishes. Like he did one that went viral using banana blossoms, and he has some very interesting takes on Jamaican dishes. And he did an appeal on GoFundMe for his followers to help him to achieve his dream of opening up his restaurant. And I saw in the newspaper this week and on his TikTok as well that he is now preparing his restaurant. I see them there renovating the place downtown, getting ready for their grand opening sometime very soon. And he was able to achieve that by using social media and getting people to donate to his GoFundMe campaign. So that is an option for people who are serious about wanting to start business and looking for creative ways to raise the funds for their business. That's such a great story. I feel like we probably should invite Ramesh on the show one of these days. Ramesh D'Souza is his name. You guys can go look him up on TikTok and Instagram if you're not familiar with his story. And there was an article, I think it was in the Observer. It might have been in both newspapers this week, because that's a really great story about how one can use social media to actually just go from cooking up creative stuff in your kitchen to being on the verge of starting a real live business and getting a lot of hype towards that type of business. All right, other comments. Roswell. So Roswell and Elaine Wilson were having a very lively chat in the group about stocks that they're investing in. And I highlighted this comment because if you guys watched my pitch deck presentation from Friday, you would know that this is one of the things that I really want to facilitate in our upcoming membership program. So we are working on a membership program, which I call it a membership loosely, but it really is going to be like social media for finance or social media for Jamaican finance. It is going to be a space where you guys can talk to each other. You will be able to DM each other. You'll be able to speak publicly or privately if you want to. You will be able to get access to exclusive content in this membership. So we will have like presentations every so often. We maybe even do a bonus analyst segment on a stock of your choice. There's so many things that we are looking toward to bringing you within the next, it's already May. So within the next 2 months, by the end of June, we hope to launch that membership so that Roswell and Elaine, you can reach each other, because it's kind of hard trying to do that here on YouTube. If you want to have a conversation about stocks online, or you want to have a conversation about finance, about business, about what is trending right now in the industry, and you're going on Twitter, you have to know the people to follow, first of all. You have to know the right people to follow. Secondly, you don't know when exactly they're posting. You don't know what people are posting on. Some people have WhatsApp groups that you talk about this to each other in, but it's limited to the people in that group, maybe 5 or 10 people. Some of them are a little bit larger. You might have all 20 people in a WhatsApp group, but we want to take that to a much bigger level. So all these conversations that are going on all over the place, that you have your private WhatsApp group, you have your people on Twitter who are talking about this, you have your people who are commenting in the comments section on taking stock. We want to consolidate those conversations and give you a dedicated place to have those conversations without the distraction of the rest of social media. So you do not have to go through Facebook, or like, for example, people have private Facebook groups already. But when you go on Facebook now, you get distracted by all the other stuff that's going on Facebook. No, this is going to be a dedicated platform where you guys, all of us, can just talk about this stuff as much as we want to and connect with each other privately if we want to as well. So I'm very excited to launch that to you towards the end of June. Definitely look out for more information on that. Also coming up from KRM this month is going to be Mother's Day is coming up. And of course, we usually use occasions like that to have a sale. So we will be having a Mother's Day sale, a 20% discount. In addition, Telegram is another one where people have these conversations. So in addition to you getting your regular discount for Mother's Day on our masterclass series, we are also going to be doing a Build Your Budget 5-week challenge. Challenge is the word I was looking for. So we're doing a 5-week build your budget challenge towards the end of May. It's going to be on the it starts on the 22nd of May, I think. And at the end of the 5 weeks, you will have your budget for the rest of this year and know how to build your budget for next year and the year going forward and the year after that. And so when you take advantage of our Mother's Day promotion, that will be included in your package. So you will get access to the masterclass. I even know how many lessons are there now, probably about 16 lessons, videos, and supporting documents. And you will also get access to our Build Your Budget 5-week challenge, which is going to be every Monday for 5 weeks. So the first week is when we go over the budgeting basics. I'm going to give you the tools to use and show you how to use them. Weeks 2, 3, and 4 are our check-in weeks to see how your tracking exercise is going. And then week 5, we finish out the budget, and that is live. That is going to be me showing you live how to do this. And if you guys know, I do not do stuff live often apart from taking stock. Most of my stuff is pre-recorded and you get access that way. But this particular workshop is going to be live for 5 weeks, 5 Monday evenings. And you will, for example, if you somehow, for some reason, have to miss one of the Mondays, you will get access to the replay. So once you purchase our masterclass special, you get access for free to the Build Your Budget workshop. Or if you've already purchased the masterclass or you're not interested in that, you can purchase just the Build Your Budget 5-week challenge coming up on May 22nd. We are going to start marketing that probably next week. So this is your first mention. This is why I love our Taking Stock viewers. You guys, I always have to give you the first bus. So you have the first exclusive information about the membership coming up. You have the first exclusive membership about information about the workshop coming up. You have the first exclusive information about the sale coming up for Mother's Day, and so many other things that we are working on actively behind the scenes right here at KRM. Let me take a couple more comments before we wrap up the show. Ayrton says, this regards David's comment about cheaper travel from Sangster. Ayrton actually says it depends on where you're going. I travel to Trinidad, Florida, and Cayman often, and NMIA always gives me the best prices. So, and then somebody else mentioned that that Knutsford does go Mandeville to Mobay. So thank you so much for that information. Appreciate that. Orville wants to know what's the Mother's Day stocks. You mean the Mother's Day sale? The Mother's Day stocks. I don't do picks. You should know that, Orville. But thank you so much for our show this week. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you like the video, guys. If you haven't done so, just hit the like button on YouTube or Facebook, whichever platform you're watching us on. Subscribe to the channel, share it with a friend, subscribe to the newsletter. We have been sending you daily emails now, giving you the transcripts of all these cool videos that we've been doing. We have a whole series on BRICS currency because that has been getting a whole lot of information. People feel like Jamaica should join BRICS. Does that even make sense? People feeling like you can just, when BRICS come out, you can go out and buy BRICS money. That's not how it's going to work. And we give you all this information in our newsletter. And when you subscribe to that newsletter, you get quite a few things for free in it, including my broker guide. I think my budgeting template is in there as well, and a few other things. The credit card document that people keep asking me for is also in that that first email that you get when you subscribe. So turn on the post notifications here on YouTube so you can see everything when it drops. You want to help people learn more about money so we can all get this money together. Reminding you to follow me on other platforms, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Do you guys think I should do the paid verification for Twitter? I'm going to do it for Instagram when it becomes available. Everybody's been telling me to do it. It's not available in Jamaica yet. But when it becomes available, yeah, I might as well just do it because of all the fake pages. But do you think I should do it for Twitter? Does it make sense over there? Let me know in the comments. So I'm at Kalila Ray on all those platforms. Everything else is fake. Don't even bother send it to me. Just report it when you see it. Any other pages that come up. I do not have any backup accounts. I will not DM you asking you for money. If you want to connect with the analysts this week, check the description box below for their contact information, and you can visit our website, KalilaReynolds.com, for financial information you can use however you like it. watch the videos, listen to the podcasts, or read the articles. And we want you to tell a friend about taking stock because investing is the new sexy. We want to make it cool to talk about money. I'm Kalila Reynolds. Thanks for watching. And I never said it earlier. Let's get this money.
Let's get this money.